Emily Butler. Anne began her life in a punctual manner, arriving exactly on time. She was due on the 4th of July, and she was born on the 4th of July in Bakersfield in 1972, around 1:30 a.m. in the morning. She knew it was kind of rude to be early, and so her mother remained in labor for about 21 hours. Anna announced her arrival with a wail that was foretold her lung capacity that later on would develop into a beautiful voice, and it was something that we look forward to in the future. She continued to increase her lung capacity for about 5 months in those early months. When she finally decided that we were fully aware of her presence, she then decided that it was time to quit wailing. She continued when she decided that she was a beautiful child, and she had big blue eyes and curly blonde hair. When her brother Tim was born, 15 months later, she immediately took it on herself to raise him properly. Anna was very serious about her role as being the oldest in the family, and continued that the rest of her life. Her mother and I used to call her the little general because she was kind of demanding about how her brothers and sisters were raised. She eventually became the oldest of 8 children. She had 3 sisters and 4 brothers. She loved each one of them and made sure that they were aware of their role in the family. Once they were teenagers, they had a little bit of fussing and fighting over whose clothes belonged to who, and also the proper way to load a dishwasher. And they were all reminded on a regular basis that one day they would all become best friends, and that certainly came to pass. Anna loved life. She always wanted to participate in everything that life had to offer. She studied ballet and piano and voice and most anything else that she could talk us into letting her do. She was a very capable student. She never had to be reminded about any kind of schoolwork or homework. She was on time to every lesson and every activity she signed up for. She was definitely an overachiever. She participated in church and school choirs, talent shows, ballet performances, church and community musicals. She was in The Wizard of Oz, Going Home, A Time to Love, The Secret Garden, The Forgotten Carols, and a whole bunch of other performances. She wanted to participate in anything and everything that presented a challenge to her and gave her an opportunity to increase in her talents. She loved football games and school and church dances. She never wanted to be left out of any kind of activity going on. Anna never wanted for friends. She was a good friend to all, and it paid off with wonderful lifelong friendships and relationships that she created. Some of her best friends were her family, became her family. Her cousin Amy Morgan became one of those really special friends. Growing up, she loved to be with her cousins. Her cousin Amy was going to school in Provo at the time, and Anna was up there too, and they managed to live the college life to its fullest. I'm not sure a whole lot of studying went on, but they made memories and created some really sweet relationships up there. In high school, Anna met a beautiful girl from Arizona by the name of Brenda Sanchez. Brenda's brother Mark and Anna's brother Tim were all in choir together, and the 4 of them became best friends. In high school, they sang together and performed in musicals together, and they forged some really strong bonds. This sweet girl became a long-life friend to Anna and turned out to be her sister-in-law when she ended up marrying Tim. Brenda was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease while they were going to school together and were singing together in the choir. They had the opportunity to go to New York City and perform at Carnegie Hall. Brenda suffered from ALS for 30 years and lost her battle in January. Before her passing, she and Anna had many discussions about their common fate as they were a strength to each other, as they discussed life and death and concerns that they had for their families after their passing. It gives us a lot of comfort to know that they're now singing together, I'm sure, in some kind of a heavenly choir. Anna and her brother Tim were the closest of friends, just being 15 months apart. She watched out for him through toddlerhood and up until her last breath. She was always there on the job to help him do anything he needed as he cared for sweet Brenda. She supported all of her siblings in their times of sorrow and joy and attended all the important events in their lives when it was possible. Her friends at work and at church learned of her great capacity to serve and to love. She had a couple of very special friends that are here today. I'd like to mention them, Maritza and Kimberly. Both these sweet women were at her side as she suffered through all of the terrible chemo treatments that she had. Maritza was there the other night when Anna passed. Anna graduated from Cal State University, Bakersfield with a bachelor's degree in music. It was there that she continued to be an overachiever. She was actually the first person in the history of the university to graduate with a music degree in only 4 years. Usually takes 5 or more years to graduate in that discipline. It involved her taking 28 semester units of credit for several semesters. While she was working on her senior recital with the head of the music department, she was encouraged to pursue a career in opera. She was slight of build and very young looking, and that particular soprano voice that she had lent itself well to taking the role of a young man or a young boy in the opera field. But she decided that that kind of a career was not something that was conducive to raising a family, and so she declined going into opera. She went on to get her teaching credential in the secondary education, and she taught at her old alma mater, Bakersfield High School, where she taught choir for several years. Her slight build and her young looks caused her a little bit of aggravation over the years, and some embarrassment when the narcs and the staff at school would mistake her for a student, asking her where her hall pass was and why she wasn't in class. She had an embarrassing moment one time that was a little bit comical. She was taking a choir accompanist to meet the principal, who was a choir accompanist, who was an applicant for a job there at the school. And after interviewing the lady for some time, the principal finally looked over at Anna and said, "Who are you, and why are you out of class?" She had to tell him that she was the music teacher. In 1993, Anna married William Trent Butler in the Los Angeles Temple, and they began their family. Brig, Hayden, Micah, Blythe, and Tucker were all born in Bakersfield, and Anna was a wonderful mother. She loved her children with all her heart. She found ways to form close bonds with each of them. She found ways to make extra money, oftentimes involving her children. She taught piano and voice, and she organized a children's singing group in which Brig and Hayden participated in. It was very enjoyable to us as grandparents to see those boys singing in that group. After Micah was born, Anna had a strong desire to to be home with her children, as you can imagine. And so she quit teaching at BHS, and she started teaching 2 young children whose parents were somewhat disillusioned with the public education system in California. And these were her 2 youngest siblings, Molly and Sam Waite. One of those 2 students was extremely difficult to work with. I won't mention the offender's name, but it was not Molly. In 2005, the Butlers relocated from California to Saratoga Springs, and with this move, her mother found how difficult it was for her to Elizabeth to homeschool. Anna was really missed at that time when they left for Utah. Anna tried their hand at a couple of franchise businesses here, but eventually Anna decided she wanted to get back into education. Her California teaching credential didn't mean a whole lot here in Utah, and so she got a job over at Westlake High in the office. And then after a while, she, being an overachiever, she wanted to go back to school and work on getting her master's degree, which she did. She got a master's degree in counseling from Utah State. She completed this goal and became a counselor there at Westlake. She loved working there, and she worked very hard to make sure that all of her students graduated. Heard a story yesterday from, I can't remember if it was Kenya or one of the men that spoke, that she was just a consummate counselor. She just made an extra effort to try and see that every one of her counseling students graduated, going to bat for them with their teachers and doing all that she could to make sure that these young people graduated from high school. She loved working there, and she loved all of the students that she worked with. All of her children graduated from Westlake, and they all of them excelled in wrestling. Many of you know that they were all wrestling. It was a wrestling family. She became a consummate wrestling mom, like no other. She supported the sport. She even coached Blythe in her senior year when she was on the girls wrestling team over at Westlake. All 5 of her children became excellent wrestlers and competed at both the regional and state levels, and were champions at the state level as well. Anna loved these years supporting her children in their sports and the extracurricular activities that she had. And her children were a primary focus and a great source of pride for her. When Cedar Valley opened here in August of 2019, Anna accepted the transfer over here, and she became head counselor. She loved her counseling staff and soon developed some warm and lasting relationships with some of you that are here today. She seemed to thrive on stress and pressure, and she was never content to be stagnant. She returned to the university as well in a postgraduate program and completed her administrative credentials a few years back and became assistant principal here at CV. And she created some really endearing relationships with many of you in the admin team. She loved you all very much, and as a family, we are so grateful and so appreciative for all the compassionate gestures that many of you have been involved in Anna's life, especially during these past 6 months. Numerous gifts and flowers and meals and cards and Minkies and Christmas carolers and photo shoots, pedicures, massages, trips away, wearing pink on Wednesdays for Anna. The list goes on and on. Anyway, we have to also acknowledge a special thanks to Courtney Johnson, her principal, who supported her and was there from the beginning to the end and encouraged her to take time off, even though she rarely did. These wonderful angels here at CV were her friends. She loved the community, the church, and the school support that lifted her spirits and that raised her quality of life the best it could be. Anna had a constant concern that she'd never be able to pay back all of the kindnesses that were shown her during these past few months. And her mom and I assured her that these were acts of love and that there was no payback necessary, that the Lord would take care of those that had blessed her during this time of trial. Although Anna's life was cut short, she was able to witness the marriages of Brig and Ting, of Hayden and Leslie, Blythe and David, and witness the engagement of Micah to his soon-to-be bride, Emma, the return of Tucker from his mission. Anna received 3 children from Hayden and Leslie, little Berkeley Anna, Hayden Ace, and Frankie Joy. These 3 bundles of energy were such a source and happiness to Anna. She shared the joy of Blythe's pregnancy and knew that pretty soon Blythe would be giving birth to a little baby boy. Anna loved everything about her life, and she really hated and grieved about leaving it behind. But in the end, she was anxious to leave her body of pain and suffering, and she looked forward to her next adventure. Anna passed away on Thursday, June 20th. She took her first breath and her last breath at exactly the same time, 1:30 a.m. in the morning. She was surrounded by her family who feel a great loss, but comforted in knowing that she's now out of pain, living happily and being among those that loved ones of hers that have gone before. Anna Butler is survived by her husband of 30 years, William Trent Butler. God, thank Trent so much for the tender and loving care that he gave our daughter. We really appreciate it, Trent. She's also survived by her children, William Brig Butler and wife Ting, Hayden Gregory Butler, his wife Leslie, Micah Sherry Butler, and soon-to-be wife Emma, Blythe Colleen Austin and her husband David, and Tucker Levi Butler. She had 3 grandchildren. I've already mentioned Berkeley, Ace, and Frankie Joy. These were all wonderful comforts to her. And she's expecting another grandbaby in October, little boy. They're going to name him Marlo. She's also survived by her parents, Gregory and Elizabeth Waite, and her siblings, Timothy Waite, Sherrod Waite, Emily Leake, Amanda Bishop, Andrew Waite, Molly Moffat, and Samuel Waite. All of her siblings are here today. Anna was a faithful member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She served in many capacities in the ward and stake organizations throughout her life. She was an incredibly responsible person. If she was given an assignment, it was always completed on time and always given with all of the effort she had. As the Lord called her home, I'm sure that she was greeted with the phrase, "Well done, thou good faithful servant." In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.